stood for those who could not stand. He spoke for those without a voice. The enduring legacy of Reverend Theodore Hesburgh is one of faith, conviction, and service to justice. Where there was a human need, there was Father Hesburgh, and as a result, there was Notre Dame. Father Ted forged a legacy of service to the cause of Christ through service to his fellow man. His wisdom and courage provided leadership on global issues and transformed Our Lady's University academically, socially, and spiritually.
He gave every minute of his life for the people he loved, Notre Dame itself. You just have to say that Ted Hesburgh is and always will be the spirit of Notre Dame.
I'd often go to Father Ted for advice. He said that in trying times, he'd look up at Mary on the dome and say, "Mary, this is your university. Help me with this problem." That was the best advice I ever received from Father Ted.
His reputation as one who stood for and worked for world peace goes far beyond any political boundaries, far beyond the boundaries of the United States of America.
He honored me in my first year in the White House by inviting me to Notre Dame when human rights was becoming the foundation of our foreign policy.
Father Hesburgh was a relentless advocate for human and civil rights, often before it was fashionable. When the mayor and Archbishop of Chicago turned down invitations to a Martin Luther King Jr. rally, Father Hesburgh looked at his watch and replied, "What time?" His work as a member of the Civil Rights Commission included the landmark 1960 legislation that effectively ended segregation in America. Never one to allow political winds to chart his course, Hesburgh served a higher purpose.
Now, the key to the success of the civil rights movement was to keep it from being a radical leftist movement and recognize that it was truly a movement coming out of the Judeo-Christian U.S. constitutional tradition of justice. Well, nobody could represent all of those forces like Father Ted could. And he did it in such a quiet, unassuming, non-judgmental way. When he was with you, you didn't have to worry about who was against you.
When there weren't a lot of voices agreeing with him, he still did what he thought the Holy Spirit wanted done and let the chips fall.
He led Notre Dame during one of the most tumultuous times in our nation's history. Yet the man who walked so closely with God provided steady leadership marked by empathy and moral conviction, qualities on display when he opened Notre Dame to co-education for the first time.
We were at a Mass he was celebrating at the grotto with these girls. In the middle of Mass, he stopped and he looked up at Mary sitting atop the golden dome. And he said, "Mary, I want to apologize for taking almost 140 years to bring your daughters to your place. They'll be here forever."
I was going up the steps of the law school, and Father Ted was coming down the steps. And I said, "Hi, Father." And he said, "Hi, Sheila." And I thought, here's a man who can get anybody in the world on the telephone. And he remembered my name.
And we remember his name. We remember his work to resolve the moral issues of our day, the way he lived out his singular calling to be a priest. We remember his sense of obligation to serve and to love, and the way the man who stood with world leaders personally touched the lives of everyone he met.
I think that all of your friends, the people who have known you over the years, and admired everything you've done for civil rights and world peace and for Notre Dame, say that the most important thing about you, and the greatest honor you will ever wear around your neck, is the collar you have worn for 57 years.
This is the man we celebrate and love.
He meant so much. The world needs more Father Hesburghs. The priest's priest, complete in every way that you can think of.
He's had such a good life and such a full life that, I think we just have to be grateful that he was here and that we had him.
I hope he enjoys heaven. He changed our lives. So thanks a lot, Father Ted.
For a man who was advisor to popes and presidents, he was first and foremost a priest. May God bless him and keep him.